With all the exciting news from Blizzard about the Shadowlands expansion, WoW Classic, and new lore reveals, it is hard for us not to talk about World of Warcraft.
In fact, our friends and families have told us to seek help.
And since therapy is too expensive, we decided to channel all of our excitement into our own, channel.
So, welcome to the JW Archives.
So, for our channel, instead of using our first normal names and things like that, we decided to use our character names that were associated with in the game itself, because that's what most people are going to expect from us, or who know us will see and recognize. So that being said, my name is Jaeln, and I have been a dedicated WoW player for about 10 years now, despite about a 6-month patch at the end of Legion, where I just got fed up with the artifact grind, kind of like now again. So a little bit of a hiatus, but been always following the lore and the gameplay and what's been going on, regardless if I was playing or not. So that being said, throughout the channel, my focus will probably talk a lot about theories and lore and speculation and things like that.
And my in-game name is Winzig Todd, and I've been a long time World of Warcraft watcher. I remember watching him and his guild again and again and again, trying to down Deathwing to where now I have all the raids memorized. So, but I am a relatively new player, so kind of a noob, so don't hate on me too much. But I want to show and share some of my nerdy creations that I've made over the years and kind of show you guys how I have made my different crafts. Most will be World of Warcraft related, some just, nerdy goodness. But that's what I want to bring to the channel. So that's kind of what we want for the channel. And first up, here's the lore guy.
Here I go. Going into Shadowlands, things are going to be taking a hard right turn in terms of who we could be fighting, who is going to be important, who is no longer important or as important, and why. So I want to discuss some of the things that I think might become relevant in terms of who will be bosses or who will be driving the forces behind who we will be fighting going forward. So, the most obvious one right now is the big bad that has been thrust front and center, and BlizzCon, and one of the people that is going to be the new big bad, and that is the Jailer. Who is the Jailer? What's his purpose? What is his plan with Sylvanas? And why is he going to be the last raid boss that we've been told in the Shadowlands expansion? He seems to represent the forces of death, or at least the ones that hold the most evil souls at bay in the Maw in the Shadowlands. And a recent leak, and by recent I mean within the last month or so, of the Jailer's actual image shows that he looks, I don't want to say vaguely familiar, but strikingly similar to some of the other characters that we've seen. And another YouTube creator, Pyromancer, has actually done a very good video on this in terms of how his appearance can be related to another individual who is a controller of time, or more specifically, the father of time, which would be Aman'Thul, the Titan leader of the Pantheon. His beard is quite a bit shorter, maybe suggesting he's ancient, but not quite as ancient as time itself, Aman'Thul. So maybe somehow he is connected with the Titans. Maybe he's working against the Titans. We also know the Titans are excellent at imprisoning things. The Jailer is the host of things that are imprisoned in a damned way. So maybe this is just another form of Titan control, either as a minor Titan we haven't been told the name of yet, so we just know him as the Jailer, or the love child of Aenar and Aman'Thul. Who knows? But we do know that he's going to play a very important role. We have been also told that he is somehow directly responsible for what Sylvanas has become, and her increasing power. So we definitely know he's going to be a raid boss, or he's going to be a main driving force in Shadowlands. How? That has been yet to be seen or will be seen, but it's very exciting to speculate and to assume. Now, as many WoW players know, Odin is already a major lore character in terms of his role in creating the Valkyr, with Helya being the first one against her will. And we all know that Helya is now control for the damned version of the underworld for the Bright Cool. And Odin famously removed one of his eyes in a deal with an entity in the Shadowlands, yet to be named, probably the Jailer, but we don't know yet, to be able to see both in the Shadowlands and into the realm of the living, where he's kind of part of. We also have to keep in mind that Odin, in his sanctuary, is already part of the afterlife in his own sort of way. The most mighty of Raikul and warriors who've fallen in battle tend to go into his halls of valor, and the halls of valor is a realm of the afterlife, but we don't know if it's a realm of the Shadowlands yet, or some sort of pocket dimension of death in itself. We haven't really fought any major people that were part of the Titans Pantheon or list as bosses yet in WoW. Oh wait, yes we have. In Ulduar, we pretty much fight all the Titan Keepers, the major Titan Keepers in Ulduar as raid bosses, because they're sort of corrupted by Yogg-Saron. We fight Helya as a... the hell is she anyway? Some sort of fallen squid boat person down in her underworld. We actually fight we fight Odin as well, and a lot of his people. So we do fight quite a lot of Titan Keepers in WoW, but we never really fight them to the death. They all seem to manage to escape death in some way, shape, or form. Even Helya, when we thought we defeated her, she's back. We found that out in BFA during the quests, when we have little pieces during the island expeditions, and we have to go turn them in, and we were informed that, yes, Helya is still alive and active and still growing in power, in fact. Odin, his hand is in every cookie jar, so to speak, especially when it comes to death. This eventually might be Odin's downfall. I can foresee that in the Shadowlands realm, we can either team up with Helya or some other death entities that are Titan aligned, and we will need to fight Odin for some unspecified reason. Maybe he pushed things too far, maybe he's pissed off the wrong person one too many times, and he just needs to be dealt with. Maybe he becomes corrupted in some sort of way just because of how he's associated with many of the death entities and WoW. Odin, I definitely see, will have some big part to play. I'm hoping it's as a raid boss. Of all the Titan Keepers that deserve it, minus Loken, even though Loken was corrupted by Yogg-Saron, Odin sort of corrupted himself. Of all the Titan Keepers, he deserves to be a raid boss and get his ass handed to him. But how? We'll see. Sylvanas. Everything always comes back and ties to Sylvanas and whatever she's tied to. Undeath, death, how she's getting her power, her grand plan, her way to cheat death, her way to kill herself, all of her power now, especially. Everything ties back to Sylvanas in some way. She's even worse with her hand in every cookie jar than Odin is. Sylvanas is a force of death. She's not death herself, but she's definitely a force of death. And in one way, we're going to have to deal with her. We're either going to see that she has some grand plan and she's going to be made some sort of messiah, some savior. And, oh, Sylvanas is the greatest. I just wish she would have told us everything. We could have worked with her. Yay, she's a hero. Or she's going to be the big baddie in some way that we're not expecting. But Sylvanas is going to have to be dealt with in one way or another. She is a major driving force in the game. And her ability to steal death from the things that should be dead will be a factor. As many people who fondly remember the Thunder King raid noticed was that they used something called anima. And there should be a lot of light bulbs going off right now, just me mentioning that. Being used, the blood of the Titan Keeper used to animate inanimate objects like constructs and things like that. But then you don't find out until the end of the mythic fight when you down the Thunder King that there is a Titan Keeper housed underneath the Throne of Thunder, just cut up and everything, and you see that the anima that was being used to bring life to inanimate objects was the blood, if you can call it that, the life essence of Raden, this powerful Titan Keeper. I'm starting to wonder now, just because anima is the very lifeblood and currency of the Shadowlands, and is being used to power the constructs, which is that's essentially what Titan Keepers are, sentient constructs of the Titans. In some intermingled way, the Shadowlands might still be a creation of the Titans if the thing that they use to power their most powerful constructs, the Keepers with, is anima. And anima is the lifeblood of the Shadowlands. Something about the Shadowlands and the Titans, there has to be a correlation there. Anima is going to be a story bridger between some of the old parts of WoW and some of the newer parts of the lore. So that was my section. If you like what you saw, leave some comments down in the comment section, especially some questions that I can answer in future shows. And now on to Winnie.
Not sure what to get your hero of Azeroth for Christmas this year? How about a Heart of Azeroth that you don't have to farm for months in order to enjoy?
In order to craft your Heart of Azeroth ornament, you're going to need a few reagents. First of all, you're going to need some acrylic paint, preferably some azurite colors like turquoise or brass. You're also going to need a clear glass ornament. You're going to need some polymer clay. I used oven bake. You're also going to have to get some bronze chain. Also, a household supply you might need is rubbing alcohol to clear out the inside of the ornament. And lastly, you're going to need some glossy spray paint to coat your clay and give it a nice metallic finish. Let's get started. Well, that's our show. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. And if you know someone who might like it, please share.
Thank you. Bye.